Carrie Pickett right now from Breitbart News joins us on the program. Carrie, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great. Hey, Cam.
Hey, glad you could be with us, and glad you had the opportunity to quiz Terry McAuliffe on gun control. Terry McAuliffe, the Democratic nominee for governor in Virginia, and you had the chance to ask him about quote-unquote assault weapons?
Yeah, and I'm glad that we've finally brought down to quote unquote assault weapons. Yeah, exactly. I was trying. Anytime I write about that, I'm always thinking. I know I'm going to get a lot of Second Amendment activists upset if I say assault weapons ban, but unfortunately, that's kind of gotten into the writing culture. However, that being said, the interesting thing here is that Terry McAuliffe, when he first ran for governor of Virginia in 2005 and didn't even make it out of the Democratic primary, he said to a lot of his friends within the Democratic Party, "Shh, don't run on gun control because it's a bad issue to run on." And he's trying to do that this time around, not to talk about it. It's not even on his website. He doesn't even want to talk about his stance on guns. So this time around, look, everyone knows that he is for the assault weapons ban, quote unquote. And so I just decided I'm going to ask him, hey, look, there's been a report out that in Virginia, gun sales are going through the roof while violent crimes are down. What are your thoughts on that, being an assault weapons ban supporter?
All right, we've got the video here. Actually, can we take a look at this? All right, let's take a look at the video of Terry McAuliffe, and then we'll talk with Carrie about what he had to say.
There was a recent report that came out that crime has gone down while firearm sales have gone up, and you are for the assault weapons ban. Are you looking to bring that to Virginia?
What I've said in Virginia, what we ought to do, and I'm a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. I'm a gun owner. I take two of my sons hunting, skeet shooting. I think there are reasonable things we could do. What I have,
Such as?
background checks. I think anyone who purchases a gun should have a background check. I've gone through it myself. It's a very simple process. It takes a couple minutes to do it. There are certain people that should not own guns. And with all the issues we've had and the comparison of Newtown and Aurora and gun violence going down, that's not the issue. I think I speak for every Virginia parent. When you drop your child off at school, you want to know that your child's going to be safe. And I think a practical, mainstream idea is that anyone who purchases a gun ought to go through a background check. I think that's reasonable. That's my opinion on that.
But to the specific question as to whether or not you would support assault weapons
Ban.
in Virginia, would you that specific type of rifle?
What I've always said is, as governor, what I'd like to get done is to have background checks. That would be my first important step in that process.
Aren't there already background checks in Virginia right now?
Correct. Laura, did you have to? All right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he didn't answer my last question because his flack started grabbing him. Like, oh, don't go there.
Interesting. Yeah. So first of all, he did not say no. I would never go after quote unquote assault weapons. Which means to me, yeah, he would. It's not his first step, but he's still in support of what he said a few months ago, which is that these commonly owned firearms should not be commonly owned or owned at all in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Exactly. And when he talks about background checks, and the interesting thing is there is that he contradicted himself because he said, well, I had a background check, but I'm for background checks. It's like, well, yeah, you had a background check in Virginia. So there are mandatory background checks in Virginia. We all know that. What he doesn't want to say is what we all know is what the Democrats like to call the gun show loophole.
Right.
He doesn't want to say those nasty words. And because he knows the moment it comes out of his mouth, there's going to be just a whole plethora of Second Amendment activists who are going to be coming out in Virginia during these midterm elections, which usually have low turnouts.
Well, absolutely. And the other thing I have to point out, Carrie, is that Terry McAuliffe seems to have lost the ability to pronounce G's at the end of his words. It's the weirdest thing. This guy was from Syracuse, New York, and yet he's running for governor and he's shooting. He loves to go shooting. He got big ideas. I mean, what is this, Carrie?
I know, isn't that funny?
Is he
okay.
running for governor or MC of Hee Haw? What is he doing?
Have you ever noticed that? Okay, I will say that guns are dangerous when you put them in the hands of liberals, because especially at the time around when elections roll around, because that's when they start handling guns. And they just get their guns because, mind you, Terry McAuliffe became a new gun owner in January of 2013. Washington Examiner reported that. And the interesting thing there is that then they all of a sudden become, big gun owners, and they start pointing barrels at their faces, a la, Al Gore. And and next thing you know, they start getting these Southern drawls. And you start wondering, I like to go hunting and skeet shooting, and it's like, wow, and check out that flannel you have going on there. I mean, really?
I love it. It's fantastic. See, I have the opposite problem. I have to work to actually remember to pronounce my G's when I'm speaking. So it always amuses me when I see the politicians, okay, I got to remember it's running now, and it's not running, and I'm fixing to go shooting. As opposed to I'm getting ready to go fire my shotgun for the first time. I know it's the attempt to come off as like man of the people, but it's just so transparent.
It's so condescending.
It really
condescending.
is.
I mean, I got to say, the one guy who could probably pull it off, and I think he's trying to emanate that, but he never will, was probably Bill Clinton. But the guy was from the South.
Right. Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Clinton could do it. Cray Deeds running for governor could do it. Because it was authentic. Terry McAuliffe has spent his entire political career in Northern Virginia, in Washington, D.C. Where did he pick up this accent? I want to know. Probably where he picked up his shotgun, right? I got my accent at Bass Pro. They had a good deal on it.
Well, actually, funny enough, Washington Examiner reported that he got his he actually got this Beretta shotgun over at Dick's, and I got to tell you, once again, he's going to have a very tough time hiding from this. And the funny thing is that even his website, if you go to his platform, does not mention where he stands on the Second Amendment. He doesn't want to talk about this. Like, it's unbelievable how he doesn't want to talk about this. But the thing about it is, when I asked that question,
Right.
and none of the reporters didn't even want to bring it up. And if you notice, another reporter said, no, actually, we want to know. Where are you on this?
Well, it's weird. This was one of those issues a few months ago. We were informed that politicians would be running, strong pro-gun control campaigns, Carrie, because that's what the people wanted. And that's not the type of campaign Terry McAuliffe seems to be running.
No, not at all. And the interesting thing here too is that what we have here is that now the issue that they're saying is, well, even though gun violence is going down, that's not the issue. The issue, as far as they're concerned, is, well, it's mass shootings over in Aurora or over at Newtown, or for that matter, he didn't mention it, but he did mention it over at the forum itself, over at Virginia Tech. Now, look, he can mention mass shootings all he wants, but the fact of the matter is he is going to have a very tough time convincing Virginia voters to actually come out to vote for him solely on those issues. And I think at that point he's going to have to start ruffling up the feathers of Northern Virginia voters. And I think that's going to be very tough, especially when there are a number of Northern Virginia voters who will not agree with him on that.
Absolutely.
And by the way, I'd like to point out, he is for, we all know about AWB. We all know about one gun a month reinstatement that he's for. But one of the things that people forget was that in 2010, one of the things that Bob McDonnell I was happy about was that he had passed the whole idea that if you are a concealed carry permit holder in Virginia, you can go into any establishment that serves alcohol. No, you can't drink the alcohol, but if you're walking home from that place that happens to serve alcohol, you'll be able to protect yourself with a weapon. Now, before that, the only people who were allowed to do that were Commonwealth attorneys, and Commonwealth attorneys are allowed to drink alcohol at at the bars, at restaurants that serve alcohol with their concealed carry permits, obviously, and their guns. Nobody else was, even retired policemen
Right.
before 2010.
So yeah, no, and since we've had restaurant carry again, there haven't been any problems at all in the state of Virginia. Carrie, unfortunately, we've got to run, but thank you so much for coming on the program, and I hope we can talk again very soon.
Absolutely. You take care, Cam.
You too. Carrie Pickett joins us from Breitbart News with us.